Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Right.
And today we're going to be looking at something pretty cool.
Yeah,
AI-powered robotics.
absolutely.
And, there are some big names out there like Boston Dynamics. Tesla's getting into the game.
Right.
But there's this company, Unitree Robotics, based in China,
Yeah.
that's doing some really interesting things that have kind of got everybody's attention.
Yeah, they've really kind of come out of nowhere, I think, for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
and just the speed at which they've become a serious contender in this space is it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a look at what they're doing, what makes them different,
Yeah.
and kind of what it means for the future of robotics.
What it could mean. Yeah.
So to kick things off, let's set the scene a little bit. Okay, so imagine you're watching the Spring Festival at Gala in China, right? The biggest TV event of the year.
Huge.
And on stage, you've got 16 humanoid robots,
Mhm.
all dancing in perfect synchronization.
It was.
You ever see anything like that?
It was really something. It was really something else. And I
Yeah.
think, they weren't just going for spectacle there. I think it was a very deliberate strategy by Unitree to kind of show off how far they've come, both on the hardware side and on the AI side of robotics.
And doing it on a global stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really interesting about Unitree is their focus on accessibility. So, they're trying to make these sophisticated robots actually affordable. And you can see that in their pricing.
Yeah.
So their H1 humanoid robot has a starting price of $90,000.
Wow.
I know it sounds like a lot, but when you compare that to something like Tesla's Optimus robot, which is estimated to cost way more.
Yeah. I mean, that's a significant difference.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that comes down to Unitree's use of rotary actuators,
Okay.
which are just more cost effective than the linear actuators that you see in a lot of the other robots out there, including the Optimus.
Okay, so it's a different kind of technology that allows them to keep the costs down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a clever engineering decision, really.
Yeah, and they don't stop there. They actually develop and manufacture many of their components themselves in-house, things like joint motors and even LiDAR sensors.
I mean, that's pretty remarkable. They're really vertically integrated in a way that you don't see
Oh.
a lot of other companies doing.
It's pretty rare in the tech world, especially.
Actually, robotics. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're really committed to keeping those costs down.
Absolutely. And I think that commitment really stems from the company's founder, Xing Wang. His whole research career has been about developing low-cost robots. So it's really baked into their DNA.
So it's not just a business strategy, it's like
It's the philosophy.
a core principle.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so you might be thinking, okay, they're cheaper, but are they any good?
Right.
Are they just, sitting in a lab somewhere?
Right. Are these just prototypes or?
Gathering dust?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the answer is no, they're not. These robots are actually out there being used by places like Stanford University,
Wow.
cutting-edge AI startups, and even in search and rescue missions.
Yeah, you see them popping up in all sorts of different applications.
Yeah, so clearly they're doing something right.
They are. And it's important to note that Unitree's success isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a bigger trend, and that's China's growing dominance in the robotics sector.
Yeah, they've really emerged as a powerhouse in the tech world, and it seems like robotics is...
It's definitely a key area of focus for them, yeah.
Yeah, so they've got the government support, they've got the manufacturing capabilities, the supply chains,
Yeah, everything's in place.
all kind of lined up.
Yeah, it's a really powerful combination.
Yeah, and speaking of support, Unitree just secured a Series C funding round,
Oh, wow.
raising billions of yuan, and they're now valued at $1.1 billion.
That's a serious chunk of change.
Yeah, so clearly investors are seeing the potential here.
Absolutely, and that kind of funding is only going to fuel their expansion and intensify the competition with the big guys like Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch.
Definitely.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Right. Well, I think Unitree is really kind of democratizing sophisticated robots, making them more affordable and accessible to a wider range of people and organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the implications of that are huge for various industries, from research and development to manufacturing to healthcare.
It really touches everything.
Yeah, let's dive a little deeper into some of those potential implications.
Yeah, let's do it. We're really seeing a shift happening here in the robotics landscape because for years, advanced robots were pretty much confined to research labs and, industrial settings.
Yeah, like behind closed doors.
Exactly. And with price tags that, could reach hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Yeah, it was a very exclusive club.
Very much so.
But Unitree is changing that. Yeah, they're really sort of blowing the doors wide open and making this technology accessible to a much wider range of customers.
And that accessibility is what fuels innovation, right?
Absolutely. The more people that have access to these advanced tools,
Yeah.
the more creative and groundbreaking applications we're going to see.
Yeah, it's like what we saw with personal computers,
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
Exactly.
Suddenly, everybody could get their hands on this powerful technology.
Yeah.
And it led to, an explosion of creativity and whole new industries.
Mm-hmm.
So we could be on the verge of a similar robotics revolution.
Potentially. Yeah, it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, so we've got these affordable, highly capable robots hitting the market.
Right.
What are some real-world implications of that? What kind of future could this lead to?
Well, I mean, imagine a world where robots are assisting in elder care, offering companionship and help with daily tasks, which could become increasingly important as the population ages. Or picture them working alongside construction crews, handling those dangerous or repetitive jobs that are often risky for humans.
Yeah.
You might even see them being deployed in disaster relief efforts.
Oh, yeah.
Navigating hazardous environments to locate survivors. These are just a few examples.
It's amazing to think about.
It
It sounds like science fiction, but Unitree is making it a reality.
It's happening now. Yeah.
Yeah, and their impact extends beyond those specific applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
This shift towards affordable robotics could have a profound effect on the global workforce as a whole.
Right. That's a crucial point to consider, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, honestly.
Okay.
On the one hand, as robots become more capable, they could automate certain tasks that are currently done by humans,
Yeah.
potentially leading to job displacement in certain sectors.
Right.
But on the other hand, this new technology is also going to create new opportunities in areas like robot design, maintenance programming, all the skills needed to support this growing industry.
Yeah, it's a really complex issue with the potential to, reshape industries and the labor market in fundamental ways.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around.
It is. It's a lot to process.
But one thing's crystal clear. Unitree is a company worth paying attention to.
Oh, for sure.
They're pushing boundaries, and their success could have ripple effects throughout the entire tech world.
Yeah, they've really challenged the status quo and shown everyone that advanced robotics doesn't have to come with an astronomical price tag. And
Yeah.
this opens up incredible possibilities for researchers, entrepreneurs, even hobbyists
All right.
who now have the chance to experiment and innovate in ways we probably haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, that's the beauty of technological disruption.
It is.
It forces us to rethink what's possible, adapt to these new realities, and embrace the unknown.
Mhm.
Unitree's story is a perfect example of that. The power of ingenuity and the potential for affordable robotics to truly transform our world.
It really is. And it all leads back to that thought-provoking question. If Unitree is already having this much of an impact, what does the future hold as AI and robotics continue to advance
Yeah.
at this incredible pace? Are we on the cusp of a future where robots are a commonplace part of our lives, not just a concept we see in sci-fi movies?
It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely.
But before we get too lost in the future, let's bring things back to the present.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about Unitree's technology and its potential impact.
Right.
But what about their approach to business and growth? They've clearly been very successful so far.
They have.
What's their secret? One thing that really jumps out at me is their global ambition.
Yeah.
They're not content with just being a big player in China.
Right.
They want to be a global leader in robotics.
Absolutely. And they're already making some pretty serious moves in that direction. I mean, they're selling their robots internationally, and over half of their revenue is actually coming from markets outside of China.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant achievement.
And that massive Series C funding round is only going to, accelerate those plans even more.
Oh, yeah. That's going to give them a huge boost.
Yeah.
And they're smart to do it. I mean, the demand for advanced robotics is just skyrocketing all over the world.
Yeah.
And Unitree is in a perfect position to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's like they found the sweet spot. They figured out how to deliver this cutting-edge robotics technology at a price point that makes it accessible to so many who just a few years ago could only dream of having access to something like this.
And it's a real game changer.
Yeah, and that accessibility is going to have a ripple effect throughout the whole industry.
Oh, absolutely.
The established players like Boston Dynamics,
Right.
they're going to have to adapt.
So they can't just sit back and watch this happen.
Yeah, it's like a classic David versus Goliath story unfolding in the robotics world with Unitree as the underdog taking on these industry giants.
Yeah, it's a compelling narrative.
And I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Me too. It's not often that we witness a company with this much potential to reshape an entire industry.
Yeah.
And Unitree's story really reminds us that innovation can come from anywhere. And even in a field as complex as robotics, affordability can be a true game changer.
Yeah. So as we wrap things up today, I want to encourage you to think about the role robotics might play in your life or your work in the years to come.
Right.
You know, Unitree is just one example of the rapid progress being made in this field.
Absolutely.
And it's a sign of the incredible things to come.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe one day you'll be working alongside a Unitree robot.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'll be inspired to start your own robotics company.
Yeah.
The future is full of exciting possibilities.
It really is. And Unitree is helping to shape that future in some pretty remarkable ways.
Absolutely. And I think that question we posed earlier about, if Unitree is already this disruptive, what happens as AI and robotics continue to advance at this pace?
Yeah. Are we on the verge of a world where robots are just an everyday part of life?
Yeah, it's a question that's going to stay with us.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of Unitree robotics.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.